Hello there, very warm welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us today and for staying tuned in the number one business channel in East Africa, Smart 24 TV, as we do drive your business. This is Financial Markets, and I am your host, Anthony. And remember to follow me on Twitter at Anthony Sabale. You can also follow Smart 24 TV at Smart 24 TV and get to watch live all the shows on business at Smart 24 TV live on YouTube or channel 394 Go TV and channel 372 DSTV. We do say that here in East Africa, our businesses are growing, our GDP is growing, and so do our minds and the business mindset as well here in the East African region. So Smart 24 TV is dedicating time and money into business here in Uganda to give you live events on business, to give you the latest content, latest updates on the news happening in the business world here in East Africa. It's a Monday, and I'm so glad you're joining us today, and definitely getting closer to Women's Day. And of course, shout outs to all the women out there making a difference. We are celebrating women. It's a month of women, and women especially who have made a difference in their families, in their businesses, women who have made a difference in education. We are applauding you this month, and you should be very, very proud of yourselves. Now, Financial Markets is proudly brought to you by Altex East Africa. If you're new here, Altex East Africa under Zabu are giving you treasury bonds at the convenience of your smartphone or your small Mapesa phone. Now, all you need to do is to simply grab that phone and dial USSD code *292# to experience the magic at Altex East Africa. With Altex East Africa, we are saying you can do something new. Why? Because it's the fast and one-of-a-kind transaction where you can transfer money from your mobile money wallet onto a platform where you can buy and sell treasury bonds in East Africa, in Uganda, in Kenya, and Tanzania. Now, the markets at Altex open at 8 a.m. and they close at 3 p.m. East African Standard Time. With Altex East Africa, you can do something new. And of course, it's a Monday, and we look back at Friday tradings. And as we begin a new week, a new start, a fresh investment is awaiting for you as an investor. And so we get to update you on what's happening in the current trends on the market in East Africa, in Uganda, and the global market as well. Let's start off with the Uganda Securities Exchange, how the trading fared on Friday. Now, on Friday, there was a huge volume as well traded, just like Thursday, just like Wednesday. The day experienced at least 4 USE listings participation in the daily trading on the exchange. The day disappointingly ended with 4 losers, and no single gainer was registered on Friday. Nation Media Group came out at the top of the gainers with a 1% share price, at the bottom of the losers rather, with a 1% share price depreciation, closing at exactly 431.59 Ugandan shillings. Equity Bank Limited closed at depreciation of 0.33%, down to 1,331.33 Ugandan shillings per share, but maintained its number one position in terms of value on the market capitalization side here in Uganda. Centum Investments as well came in at a loss of 0.22%, and this was at a closing price of 263.93 Ugandan shillings. When you look at East African Breweries Limited, they have also lost at least 0.14%, down to 5,113.19 Ugandan shillings per share. There is a lot of news concerning the extra general meetings that are currently being held with East African Breweries Limited and Centum Investments, and a couple of other companies actually putting up some of these meetings online and physically. So that is something I'm going to be updating you on very soon. And of course, that is in light of what is yet to come. That is the season of reports, financial reports, and reporting on the activities that are currently happening in the companies that we are buying shares into. This is the season we are heading into, at least starting from the month of May, all through the month of June, and all through the month of August. We're going to be experiencing earnings. And you understand, if you are a trader, this is a critical moment where you have to concentrate on your portfolio vis-a-vis what's happening in the market. Don't stay backwards. These markets are driven by, one, research, and two, willingness to adjust, willingness to take more risk, willingness to be flexible when it comes to investment. Don't be that die-hard for a company that's not giving you any value in the long run, because we are here to add value to our money, not to actually lose value of our money. So this is going to be a very important season as we get you through what is happening in those meetings, and which companies are doing good, which companies have registered the profit, which companies are issuing a dividend, and which ones are actually not doing so. So just to inform you, keep your hands on deck. A lot is coming your way. Now, moving ahead, amongst the list of participants, I said we had 4 participants in the market, and these were all cross domestic listings. These led by Stanbic Bank Uganda with a 60 million shares volume that was traded. Well, Stanbic Bank Uganda has been rallying the Uganda Securities Exchange of recent, experiencing huge movements since Wednesday, Thursday. So at least almost 1 billion shares traded in those 3 days, which is the biggest volume, at least in the past 1 year, on the Uganda Securities Exchange that has so far been experienced at a single trading. Now, Stanbic Bank Uganda boasts of a 1.18 trillion Ugandan shillings market capitalization, and this represents at least 5.66% of the entire Uganda Securities Exchange equities market. This makes the company the 5th most valuable on the Uganda Securities Exchange at a price of 23.0 Ugandan shillings. Now, on Friday, they had 60 million shares that were traded, and these had a total monetary value of at least 1.38 billion Ugandan shillings. This is exactly what we're talking about. A stock trading with as little as 23 shillings, trading over 60 million shares at 1.3 billion in a single day. Now, let's put things in perspective here a little bit. Just a few days ago, Stanbic Bank was trading at 21 shillings. And the appreciation happened on, I think it was Wednesday. Yes, the Wednesday trading saw at least the 2 shillings. Just 2 shillings added to the value of the stock at Stanbic Bank Uganda. Now, if at all someone bought 1,000 shares, okay, let's put it on a larger scale to put things in perspective. If someone bought 1 million shares at 21 million on Wednesday, and on Friday they sold the same amount of shares at 23 Ugandan shillings per share, that means 23 million. It means you're making a profit of 2 million. That's the capital gain you're putting in place. Now, that's a huge gain there, but it doesn't come easy. Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't, because we've seen a Stanbic Bank stock stagnant for a very long time on a flat level at 21 shillings since last year in December, and now getting to 23 shillings. It could seem like an easy or simple gain, but it's not. Especially looking at the big volumes here. So probably this person, if at all it was one person who bought all these shares or sold all these shares at a 1.38 billion, they probably made a profit of close to 100 million, or a capital gain of 100 million. That's how the stocks work. And probably these people could have bought stock last year when Stanbic was actually trading at 20 shillings. So you can imagine, when we put things in percentages, that's when probably they make sense, because percentages give you a picture of what would happen if at all I had invested this money that I had last year in this business, in this asset. What would I be? What would my value be like? So it's very, very important for you to look at these figures and comprehend them and learn something, because as I always say, when things are going bad, when the stocks are going down, that's the time to get in. That's the time to buy and stay silent. and then come out when everyone is trading and be able to get yourself a profit. Now, the market capitalization, like I said, is 1.18 trillion. And in 1 week, the company has made 9.52% on their price at the Uganda Securities Exchange. And in the last 4 weeks, the same value of 9.52%, as well as in the last 3 months. At the moment, this is the best counter in terms of year-to-date performance on the Uganda Securities Exchange at a 9.52% gain. Also, they are the #1 most traded on stock at the Uganda Securities Exchange since last year, 28th of November to date, as to actually Friday on the 2nd of March 2023. Stanbic Bank Uganda in this period has recorded a record volume of 165 million shares at the exchange, valued at 3.76 billion Ugandan shillings over the period. Now, on average, they are trading at least 2.61 million shares per trading session. So even the frequency of trades has improved despite just the fact that the markets were slow around December and also at the beginning of the year 2023. Now, like I said, Stanbic Bank has traded on Wednesday at least 39 million shares, and then 60 million shares are closing last Friday. So that means this counter is something to reckon, and it's something to look up to and something to actually get to be interested in. Remember to buy shares at the Uganda Securities Exchange. All you need is to go to your Google account or go to USE website and get to visit Easy Portal. When you go to Easy Portal, you will be able to choose an option to register for a Securities Central Depository account, or an SCD account. This will help you to buy shares into the different stocks on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Now, away from the Stanbic Bank stock, UCL, or Uganda Clays Limited, as well had a big volume traded on Friday, and the stock closed with 13.5 billion Ugandan shillings market capitalization, representing at least 0.065% of the entire Uganda Securities Exchange equities market. As per the trading on the exchange, currently the UCL stock, or Uganda Clays stock, is at 15 shillings per share. And currently about 900 million shares are floated on the exchange for Uganda Clays at exactly 13.5 billion Uganda shillings. That is the worth. Currently, Uganda Clays is the 5th most traded on stock in the last 3 months, trading close to at least 884,000 shares over the last 3 months in this period, with an average of at least 14,000 shares traded. Now, currently in this period, they've also traded at least 13.4 million Ugandan shillings on the exchange, meaning they are still one of the biggest turnovers as well on the Uganda Securities Exchange. In terms of year-to-date, however, the company is not performing so well after losing at least 12.8% of their price, where they began at 17.2 shillings this year. And at 15 shillings, that values at least 12.8% of the shareholders' pockets. Wumeme also traded a volume of 21,688 shares on the market after Friday tradings. Now, Wumeme currently is the 8th most valuable company on the stock exchange in terms of market capitalization. After trading on Friday, it closed at the same price with which it began, 300 shillings, and had a volume of at least 21,688 shares traded, which was a 6.51 million shillings turnover. Now, the shares outstanding currently at the company are 1.62 billion, and the market capitalization of 487 billion is currently being counted on the stock. Wumeme gained traction on the Uganda Securities Exchange last year around the month of December, when it brought a public notice to the attention of the shareholders that they will not be renewing their concession with the government of Uganda. And that means they will be departing Uganda in 2025 after the expiration of their 20-year concession with the government of Uganda to distribute and supply electricity within the country. Now, when you look at Umeme stock since then, the stock rose from 200 to 210 to 275 and then skyrocketed to 300 shillings, where it has stabilized for quite some time right now, at least about 2 or 1 month and a half into the year 2023. MTN traded 1,612 shares on Friday, closing the markets with the price of 177 Ugandan shillings per share. Now, the stock that came in as the only electronic IPO in East Africa last year, but one in 2021, currently has a market capitalization of 3.96 trillion, with each share valued at 177 Ugandan shillings at the moment. And the gross turnover that was accrued from the 1,612 shares was 285,568 Ugandan shillings. Currently, the company has a 22.4 billion shares that are floated on the exchange. In terms of year-to-date performance, the company has shed off at least 1.67% of their price since the beginning of the year, after losing from at least 179 to 177 Ugandan shillings in the period. In terms of trading, MTN maintains the second position as far as the volumes are concerned. In the period ended 2nd March last week, the company had so far traded at least 22.3 million shares valued at 4.03 billion Ugandan shillings. And that's the trading, my friend, from the big stocks on the Uganda Securities Exchange. According to, of course, the Uganda Securities Exchange as well, the all-share index depreciated at least 1.29 points on Friday, closing at 1,206 points at the closure of the week, at the overall year-to-date loss of at least 0.52%. The local company index maintained its value at 274 points after all the local stocks were able to remain resilient at the close of the week. My friend, that's the trading from Uganda Securities Exchange. Generally, things are working better. If you are trading last year on the Uganda Securities Exchange, I'm so sorry, we're having a different picture here. There's a lot more trading than you can expect right now. A lot of enthusiasm coming in from the investors. As I said, we are getting into the earnings season, and that also is contributing to what could be another bull market on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Today's data shows at least 52% improvement in volume for last week and the 51% improvement in the turnover. So things are getting better. If you're out there and you want to join the market, feel free. It's absolutely the time to come in and enjoy some of the big gains from the big boys. Let's cross over to Nairobi before we get to the United States. Now, Nairobi on Friday as well had a wonderful day of trading. And according to data from the Nairobi Securities Exchange, 43 out of the 65 listings participated in the trades from the main board of the Nairobi Securities Exchange. The data shows that the day ended with at least 10 gainers and 22 losers on the market, and the Flame Tree Group Holdings leading the gainers at a 7.27% share price appreciation, and the HF Group or Home Africa Group gained at least 7.01%. East African Cables gained 4.6%, and EGADS, another growth enterprise on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, gained at least 4.55%. On the losing side, Everready East Africa lost most at a total loss of 4.69%. This was down to a price of 0.61 Kenyan shillings. It was followed by Reassurance Company of Kenya, and this was also losing at least 2.22% in value, and at least 1.83% was lost at the Nairobi Securities Exchange counter. In terms of volume, Safaricom still recorded the biggest volume for the day after trading at least 2.95 million shares, and KCB Group trading at least 2.12 million shares. Equity Group Holdings traded at least 1.06 million, and Cooperative Bank of Kenya at least 462,800 shares. As far as the NSE All Share Index is concerned, this is an index that tracks the aggregate performance of all the 65 listings the stock climbed up at least 0.33 points for the day at closing of about 126.21 points. On the other hand, other remarkable indices, the NSE 20 and the NSE 25, tracking the top 20 and top 25 companies respectively via market capitalization. On the NSE also had some movement, with the NSE 20 losing at least 0.33% and the NSE 25 coming at a gain of 0.1%. That's the trading, my friend, from the East African market. And remember, we are vying for the integration of the East African market into one, and I hope you are advocating for the same, because this will be more convenient for us to trade across borders without any barriers that are currently in place. The fund is being managed by the African Development Bank, and the participation of Nairobi Securities Exchange is highly anticipated. And this will be one of the greatest things in history about the history of the capital markets in East Africa. Having a common market where we can all buy and sell our shares, or even other securities like the bonds and the treasury bills. And that's it, my friend, from the East African market. Allow me to cross over to Wall Street in the United States and have a look at what the big boys had to say on Friday. Now, data from Bloomberg shows that at least US stocks on Friday rose at around noon, while bond yields retreated slightly from their recent march. The S&P 500 surged at least 1.1% at around midday trading, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average added 0.7% on Friday, and contracts on the technology-heavy Nasdaq Composite, which is also one of the biggest indices in the United States, jumped 1.4%. The yield on the benchmark treasury bond, the 10-year treasury bond in the US, moved below, then back above the 4% level Friday morning, after services data showed that the economic activity had expanded in February. Crude oil traded weaker, with the US benchmark WTI trading downwards at $76.6 per barrel. And on the economic data side, the economic activity in the services sector grew in February for the second consecutive month, as the ISM services came in at a 55.1, slightly lower from the 55.2 recorded in January, above the economists' expectations at 54.5%. Now, February's ISM services suggest that activity continues to expand in the United States. This, of course, is further reason to doubt the idea that there has been a resurgence in the growth since the start of the year, according to Andrew Hunter, the Deputy Chief U.S. Economist at Capital Economics. That's it, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us today and for keeping updated with the latest on business. This is Smart24 TV. A lot is coming your way, and we mean business 24 hours, 7 days a week. It's a Monday, and it's a day of work, and I hope you are going to have a very wonderful day. Just a humble reminder about Altex East Africa. You can check out Altex if you want to buy treasury bonds in East Africa by simply dialing *292# and following the prompts. So first of all, register and be able to trade on the East African treasury bond market. With Altex East Africa, you can use Airtel, you can use MTN, and transfer funds off your mobile money and invest in treasury bonds. Treasury bonds are transferable debts that are traded as securities across the governments in East Africa and all over the world. So they are one of the safest investments you can make for yourself, because governments have been known, at least for one thing for sure, not to default on their loans. So invest with Altex East Africa and you will not regret. With Altex East Africa, we are saying you can do something absolutely new. And that's it, my friend, and I'll catch you tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a very, very wonderful day. Keep tuned at Smart24 TV as we drive your business.
Smart 24, driving business.